Dayan, HaEmet.
Yeah, I guess.
Baruch Dayan HaEmet. We praise the Judge of Truth. Baruch Dayan HaEmet. We praise the Judge of Truth. We gather to pay respects to your dear Tatyana, and we begin with Psalm 121. Asai enai el ha'arim me'ayin yavo Ezri. Ezri me'im Adonai oseh shamayim va'aretz. Al yitein lamot raglecha, al yanum shomrecha. Hidei lo yanum v'lo yishan shomer Yisrael. Adonai shomrecha, Adonai tzidcha ad yad yaminecha. Yomam hashemesh lo yekeka v'yorech v'layla. Adonai yishmarcha mikol ra yishmoret nafshecha. Adonai yishmar tzedka v'uecha me'ata v'ad olam. I lift up mine eyes unto the mountains, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord, maker of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot give way, your protector will not slumber. See, the protector of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. The Lord is your guardian, he is your protection at your right hand. The sun will not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will guard you from all harm. He will guard your soul. You're going and you're coming, now and forever. I'd like to call forward Steve if he wants to say some things, words of tribute to his mother.
Hello everybody, thank everybody for taking the time to come out. Pay respects to my mom. Cold and windy day, so it's really testing everybody as well. She said, if you're going to come, I want to make sure I know who my real friends are in this weather. So thank you for coming. Just want to say a few words about my mom. Just a little bit about her, the person that she was, things that stick out of my memory. Probably the earliest what I remember is being a young child in Kiev, at the time USSR. So I was 8 years old when we moved in 79. So I remember mom picking me up from kindergarten after work every day and standing in line to buy what she needed that day, meat or whatnot, and standing in line a very long time. I didn't cooperate. I didn't want to stand in line. I wanted to go home. She had the siatka. To get what she needed, hopefully of something good. Go home and get a lot of it. Something was good that day. And I remember lots of that. I think for those of us that grew up there, a lot of people took away the accountability to find you as a person. To persevere when things are more difficult. And from there, the trip to America, to sell everything you have, to get rid of everything you have, to leave everything you know. and come to the United States, to somewhere you don't know anything about, you don't speak the language, and it's hard for me to think of my mom just on her own because my mom and my dad were always together. They didn't, not grocery shopping, not anywhere. They were attached, so it's almost one entity. So she did. She did. They had an interesting dynamic. You know, it was established, I think, early on that she was the boss in that relationship. She wore the proverbial pants. She was in control, and as long as that was understood by everybody, things were good. But she was his life, and he was hers, and you know that coming here together, it was also a very trying time, and a memorable moment was when we were in Italy, and we went to visit Rome, I believe. I was 8 years old. I was with mom, stuff like this, and she lost my dad. Somehow they got separated. They were on the tour. So this is '79. There's no cell phones, there's no GPS. There's no one you can call. Where the hell is Dad? And that was the only time I can think of. They were not together. And that was very, very stressful. But after I think a few hours, she found them. But I wasn't worried. I knew I was with mom, and no matter what happens, the mom would handle it. Strange country, no wallet, no phone, no anything, no ID, and you lost the only person that had everything on her. I was not worried. I knew she had it under control. We'll be fine. And that's kind of, I think, for me as a person, a takeaway from her. You know, what can I learn in life is, you know, lots of things, but that's some of the things too. No matter what happens, what life throws at you, to handle it, to be on top of it, to be in control, and to take care of those that are with you, so that they don't have to worry. So, that was my lesson. So, having my own family, my own children, try to take care of everything, so they don't have to worry. And make them feel safe. If we're somewhere out and something happens, that they don't worry, if they know they're with. That's some of my takeaways. And in the United States, I think that continued, right? Probably a lot of people here did the same thing, but move to a new country, you don't know where you are, you don't speak the language, you don't have any money. Go ahead and make a life. And he did. They became, over the years, much more successful in many ways that people that had a much bigger head start. A lot of it is hard work. A lot of it is attitude. How things are. Mom was super organized. Everything had to be in the right place at the right time. Everything had a spot. Everything had to be on schedule. Everything had to be on time. And growing up with mom, that's how it was. I think she carried that at work. When she, I remember telling me when she first started working, and I think first job was 1980. She went to work at a big corporation, Allen Bradley, industrial automation company. I don't think her coworkers ever met somebody from the Soviet Union at the time. They had no idea who she was. She didn't speak the language. She was telling me they were teaching them how to use soap. Here speak, but she kind of shared what she was thinking, and she's thinking, I can teach you a few things about how to clean things. Yeah, but over the years, it came to her, hey, how do you do this? Help me. And she took the lead on a lot of things in her company. I know for a fact she told her boss what to do. That's kind of the person that she was. Very organized, top of things, and very reliable. If anybody needed to do something, said, Tanya, I need you to do this. Doesn't matter who they are. If she said, I'll do it, there's no doubt. It will be done when you need it done. Very reliable. Get things out of the way. Maybe another lesson for me. Right? And she lived a good life together. Moved a bunch of times. Moved to Florida for a short stint and came back. But over the years, I think she had a great influence with a lot of people. And whenever I met somebody that I didn't know, I knew my mom, I knew my parents, it's, oh, you're Tanya's son. Oh, your parents, oh, they're lovely people, oh, they're so great. I'm like, wow. That's the kind of impression that we have of people that you know for a short time. She had Alzheimer's. She became Alzheimer's. I go visit her at Vitalia. The nurses in Vitalia will come up and say, oh, your mom? Don't tell anybody, but she's my favorite. She's such a sweetheart. Yeah, she's so crazy. Everybody loved her. Left an impression in everybody's heart she came across. And I hope people here who knew her, hope she left an impression in your heart that you'll remember her for a long time. Thank you.
To those words spoken as a prayer, let us say Amen. Papers go flying. You're young. You will run and catch them, right? Okay, good. So we gathered to pay a tribute to Tatyana Dayonchik. Her Hebrew name was Malka. Malka means queen. And she was the sovereign of the family. And she was extremely independent. She went and she made the decision. She ran the family. She ran the house. And over the years, she was a trusted counselor at her place of work. People valued Tanya for her intelligence and her good decision making. She was born October 17, 1946, in Kiev. Her mother, Bafia or Batya, her dad, Igor, Berlonia, last name Siegel, they're both of blessed memory. She was predeceased by her dear sister Lita. They spoke on the phone every day for hours. The family lived in Kiev, the former Soviet Union, as you know. And her family was like most Jews, just trying to survive in the clutches of communism, waiting in line for hours for an opportunity to buy some food and live a life and deal with anti-Semitism. 2 years after Tatyana was born, the modern state of Israel was born. And the impact upon the Jewish people was tremendous. As you know, there were millions of Jews in Russia. And I'd like to share a story about how deep the Jewish roots go. 76 years ago, in 1948, Golda Meir went to the Soviet Union as the first Israeli ambassador. No one knew how the Russian Jews would react. There had been no legal Jewish education in Russia since 1917, the Bolshevik Revolution, October 1917. Perhaps, as Jews, they were all gone. And so the state of Israel had been declared less than 5 months earlier, and the government of Joseph Stalin had been the second country after the United States to declare officially to recognize the new state of Israel. Yet, local Jews were warned to keep their distance from the Israeli delegation. And Israelis were apprehensive about making contact, even with their own relatives who they hadn't seen for many years in Russia. So writing in the newspaper Pravda, Ilya Ehrenberg, he wrote, "The state of Israel has nothing to do with the Jews of the Soviet Union. There's no Jewish problem, and therefore there's no need for Israel." But word spread that Golda was coming to services on Rosh Hashanah at the Choral Synagogue in Moscow. It was October 1948, and tens of thousands of Jews came to the synagogue. Golda wrote in her autobiography, she wrote, "Instead of the 2,000 Jews who usually came to synagogue on the holidays, a crowd of close to 50,000 Jews were waiting for us." And she said, "For a minute, I couldn't even grasp what was happening. I couldn't even grasp who they were. Then it dawned on me. They had come, these good, brave Jews, in order to demonstrate their sense of kinship and to celebrate the establishment of the modern state of Israel." And they called out her name, Golda, Golda. Like your dad called out Tanya, Tanya. They called out Golda, Golda. And they were lined up in front of the synagogue to see her and to touch her and to wave to her and to welcome her. Golda wrote in her autobiography, she was so moved that she could hardly speak. She pretty much only knew one word in Yiddish. Gedank, gedank. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, she said, for coming. Thank you for being here. Thank you for remaining Jews. And it's a similar sentiment as we stand here in Cleveland in the wind and the cold, as we look at each other, even in our sadness, and over the deterioration of your dear mother, your dear Tatyana. There's a sense of gratitude in our hearts. Thank you for remaining Jews. So Tanya's father, Lonya, he worked on a freighter or some other kind of big boat on the, and you have to help me with the pronunciation, the river that goes through Kiev. Dnieper. Yeah, that's it. Exactly. Dnieper River. There's a port there, and he worked on some sort of a boat there, and he was able to bring home some food to share with the family. And he even brought home sweets, so Tanya's friends liked coming over and eating the sweets. She was smart. She went to college in Kiev. She earned a degree in drafting. So when she was at Alec Bradley, they're like, she learned how to wash her hands. She's like, I got a college degree here. You know, I mean, it's not like I learned how to wash my hands. And they didn't know how OCD she was with the cleanliness of the house. One day, Tatyana Dayonchik came to the Siegel's apartment building to visit an aunt. And he knocked on the door of the apartment, which he thought was the right apartment. However, it was the apartment, it was the wrong apartment. It was the apartment that was in the same spot, but a floor up. And so he knocked on the door of a total stranger's apartment. It was the Siegel's apartment. And Tanya answered the door. And guess what? That's how it began. That's how they met. Tanya and Leon had married in June 1970, and they shared a marriage of almost 50 years when Leon had died in May of 2022. She was his life. He used to say, Tanya, Tanya, Tanya. And they traveled a lot. They were blessed with family. Steve, Ilana, and grandchildren, Brianna, Ariel, and Aaron. And Ariel's in Cincinnati. And then a niece, Samantha. Tanya, Leonid, and Steve came to America in 1979, as you know. The Jackson-Vanik bill that helped make the immigration possible. They were sponsored by a relative here in Cleveland. She started looking for a job in her field of study. She was very strong-willed. She was stubborn. But you know, who among us isn't stubborn? She was very strong-willed. She wanted to make sure to get a job in her field. She didn't want any sort of just any job. She wanted a job in her field. And as you know, she worked at Allen Bradley. She did a great job. She was a trusted associate. She retired from there. She had this one job, many jobs with the company. She stayed there the whole time. She was the leader of everyone. She was not cuddly as a mom, but you knew she loved you because she took care of you. She provided everything. She cooked. She loved to talk. She was a chatterbox. Talk, talk, talk. She almost never stopped talking. And when she finally did stop talking because of the Alzheimer's, it was a sadness. Because you heard her voice all the time and then there's nothing. Is Samantha here? She made chicken soup for your dog.
She did? She would babysit my dog when we were on vacation?
She would babysit your dog. She made chicken soup for your dog.
She did?
It's hilarious. That's how much she loved you. Or at least how much she loved your mother. You are... I'm just kidding.
She liked me.
I'm sure she liked you. She did, she wasn't very religious, but she always, she did the Yortzeit candle, which is also incredibly important. You heard a little bit of the story when they suddenly decided to move to Florida, and then there was a lot of deterioration. And Steve and Brianna, Ariel, you got to stay here with Mom, went down to Florida and helped take care of everything. And it's what we do for our loved ones, even as difficult as it is. You're a good son. You're married to a good woman. You got good kids. And let's not forget the niece. Even when she couldn't talk anymore, she forgot her English, then she was speaking in Russian. Then she forgot her Russian, and then she couldn't talk anymore. And then Anna said, even when she couldn't talk anymore, I could see a light in her eyes, when she saw us. It has been a couple of years of serious deterioration. And finally on Monday, in the morning, Tanya breathed her last, and now she's at peace. Just as Shabbat is a time of rest, so too for her is a time of rest and peace. Our Jewish tradition teaches and believes that her soul is returning to God. The breath, the animating spirit, her soul is returning to God, to be with the souls of her dear husband and relatives and parents and friends and loved ones and ancestors of our people. We place the body in the ground. The soul is already returning to God. We learn this in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12, verse 7. The dust returns to the earth as it was. The spirit returns to God who gave it. One day, all of us will be in this time called Olam Haba, the world to come. It's not a place. This is a place, but Olam Haba is a spiritual existence. It's an eternal time. Your souls will be together. We're sending along some old prayer books and a Passover Haggadah, because it's a mitzvah to send along holy books of our tradition along with the body of a loved one. And we're sending along the Haggadah in particular because Passover is the time when we recall our ancient liberation from Egyptian slavery and God's deliverance those many years ago, thousands of years ago. And now you're here. Tatyana has been liberated from any sort of illness or pain or deterioration. Your memories are filled to overflowing, and we give thanks to God for this gift of life. We hope for many more years. She was only about 78. It's really not that old unless you think about it. You don't have to think about it very much. You're 13, it's 78, it's a lot. Now we know 78's not that much. We had hoped for many more years. However, we would want them in good health. So, it was not to be, and we're sad, and at the same time we're grateful for the time we were blessed. And as you think of her, you should share a smile, maybe make some chicken soup for Samantha's dog. Do something that would bring her some happiness and pay honor to her memory. And so we say with tears in our eyes, we conclude with the words from the first chapter of the book of Job. Adonai Natan, Adonai Lakach, Yehi Shem Adonai B'Varach. The Lord hath given, the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. And let us say, Amen. Oseh Shalom Bimroma, Uyaseh Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'iru Yimru Amen. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael. May God, who causes peace to reign in the high heavens, cause peace to rain down upon us, upon all Israel, upon the soul of our dear Tatyana Dayonchik in Malta. And together let us say Amen. The reason we are here and she is there is because of the wetness of the earth. So we're going to lower the casket. We can go over and place some earth from the wheelbarrow. The other earth is way too wet. And yeah, please lower. Let us rise and we will chant El Malei Rachamim. El Malei Rachamim, Shochein Vamromim, Hametzem Menucha Nekona, Tachat Kantei Hashchina, Im Kedoshim U'Tohorim, Zohar Akia Masirim, Et Nishmat Malka, Shahalakha L'Olama, Ba'al HaRachamim, Yaskireha B'Seter K'Nafav Le'Olamim, Vayitzror B'Tzor HaChaim, Et Nishmata, Adonai U'Rachalata, V'Tanuach V'Shalom Al Mishkava. Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest to your sheltering presence to our dear Tatyana Dayonchik. She has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let her find refuge in the shadow of your wings, and let her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is her inheritance. May she rest in peace, and let us say, Amen. Now, we will go over, we will shovel some earth, we'll say Kaddish, and then we are going to Europa. Okay. And then we're saying Kaddish for her every Friday for the next 4 weeks. Wednesday afternoon, Hebrew school, the kids are going to say Kaddish for her today, because they need repetitions on the Kaddish, and Tatyana gets a Kaddish for them. And on Sunday school will be at the same time. St. Kaddish and Tatyana. It'll be our privilege, whether any family members can come on Friday night or not, we will still say Kaddish. Okay, let us go to the grave and we will shovel some earth and we'll say Kaddish.